Just the button.
We
Good
are live.
live.
And you know what's funny, Jason, is we have a brand new person who is also laughing about the fact that we're every time.
I love it. We gotta. That's the energy we bring here at 7:45 in the morning.
Oh my gosh, every time we're so amused and amazed that technology works. So here we are.
It's
Absolutely.
good when it does.
It is good when it does. And I bet, Retta, you are going to feel even more excited about it working today because I know you have something to show us. I got to meet Retta, Jason, a couple of weeks ago. And as soon as I saw what Retta has available for all of us, I said, listen, this is amazing. I have to introduce you to a bunch of people, but also we're going to break our show's format. We've got to get you on the show. We have to show people what you have because this is, Jason, one of the coolest things that I have seen in a very long time. And I know you're probably literally at the edge of your seat, aren't you?
I am. I remember you emailed me, and I'm just like, "Oh, this sounds fantastic." So we lined all this up, and Retta, welcome to the show. We're happy to have you here. So maybe you could tell us a little bit about it and about yourself.
Yeah, so my name is Reda Prodai. I'm the founder of Pulse Experts. A few months ago, I started working on this new platform, this new solution, with one purpose in mind, is to allow recruiters to make faster and more confident decisions, hiring decisions, based on data. So it's one thing that was really missing. We used to send in resumes and motivation letter, etc. I wanted to have this new approach where we base it on skills, actual assessed skills that is not currently present today.
Wow. Yeah, that sounds interesting, especially with, I'm envisioning the pile of resumes, right? And they're just somebody's weeding through them at the HR level and maybe just glancing over them. And a lot of people are getting overlooked for positions or opportunities out there that they're definitely qualified for, or maybe even, a perfect fit for.
Jason,
that's exactly it.
This is it, right? And I know for me, selfishly, I'm heads down in the Salesforce ecosystem, and I know that you aren't, but you're going to be able to immediately understand what I'm saying. In Salesforce, loads of people have loads of certifications, and they do mean something at a point in time. But what's most important and critical is how do you apply those skills that earned certification when you were working on task? And I know I've been trained in that DDI style of interviewing, which is past behavior predicts future results. And that's great and all, but how do I make sure that we're all getting to that and that we're stepping ourselves a little bit forward? And Retta has the solution. This is, I think, honestly, Retta, it's time for you to show this to Jason because I am so excited.
Let's check it out. I'm excited. Let's go for it.
I'd love to. Okay, so I prepared this short evaluation to show you an example. So I myself, I'm the founder of this startup. So let's assume that I'm looking for a UX designer, someone who knows about HR tech more or less, but has experience in working with product owners and developers. So I created this first evaluation where it clearly states the kind of profile I'm looking for, industry that I'm working in, and the kind of organization that I represent. So in this case, a startup. I can add any comment that I want. So this is where you put your job description or any specific elements. One recruiter, for example, asked me if I can have coding games type questions. Of course, you put anything you want there, including the type of questions that you're expecting. Once that is done, you can move on to the second stage, which is the creation of the actual evaluation of the actual questions. So as soon as you start writing the different topics, so this one, for example, is wireframing and prototyping, extremely important for UX designer. You can see that the solution has proposed several different questions at several different difficulties. So it's taking into account everything that we've said on the past page. You see UX designer at the HR tech startup, working with product owners, with developers. This is exactly the context that we've given it. And you have that applied for several different level of complexity for the different questions. The real-time evaluation, a lot of different elements that personally I'm not super familiar with, but this is what the tool is here for. I don't need to be familiar with all these elements. So I can just go ahead and add any questions that I like, that I find interesting. And we'll move on to which is UI UX. So another skill that is extremely important. We talked about this earlier, but there you go. So this one, yeah, so this one is for the UI UX decision topic. We have, for example, this question about application tracking system. So again, the tool knows we're talking about HR tech. It knows we need someone that works with product owners. So we have this question that could be really interesting for us as well. As soon as we go on, we can just as easily confirm the different topics, and that's it. The evaluation is done. I don't need to know about UX, UI. I don't need to know about how to structure a question, how to ask the question. The evaluation is ready. As soon as that is done, there's one last step, which is to send it to candidates. So I just send the link. There's a link that is provided in the tool. I can send the link to a candidate, and I'll move on to something that, Shannon, you're more familiar with. So let's assume I want to evaluate someone on his Salesforce knowledge. And there's one example of evaluation myself on resource management and Sales Cloud, which is a Salesforce technology. And once that evaluation is complete, I can look at a detailed scorecard. So what's a scorecard? It's something that looks like this. So you can see I have an overview of the different skills and the different grades attributed to each one of those criteria within the topic, within the skill itself. And if I want to call the person, I can also ask him questions about his answers, because in this scorecard, I have all the questions that have been asked, the answers that were given by the candidates, and a detailed evaluation. So I know exactly what were the strengths of the answer, what were the weaknesses, and what are the different areas of improvements. And this for all the different questions that were asked to the candidates.
Super cool. Hey, are you able to, when those questions are generated, obviously I'm assuming AI is generating them for you. Are you able to go in and edit those though? So obviously somebody may be a subject matter expert that's also kind of involved in this process, and maybe they want to put in their own unique input and kind of tweak and refine those questions.
This is something we're working on. So indeed, I have the possibility to either edit questions that were suggested, or also create new custom ones. I might have already done a couple of interviews and know exactly the kind of use cases that I want to give to my candidate. So of course, this is something that we're working on actively.
Okay, super cool though. I like this a lot. Yeah, this is great. And then you send this off when this is done, and they receive what kind of just similar kind of a portal platform where they can take these questions online, just fill in the fields, and then then they're off to the races.
Yeah. Well, once the exam is published, we can go ahead and publish this one. It's going to suggest a time for the exam based on the different questions that I've selected. So let's assume here 30 minutes. The next step, once that is done, is to add candidates. So at the moment, I don't have any candidates added. I could go ahead and add myself, for example. And this will make sure that only one candidate can actually take the exam and not, for example, create X number of email addresses.
Gotcha.
Once he's registered, I can just take the link here and send it via the regular means, whether via LinkedIn, via email, any means that I usually use to communicate with him. And this will take him, if I do this, this will take him to this page that shows him what is the exam he's about to take, what are the conditions of taking this exam, making sure that he knows that he should not leave the browser, switch to a different tab. All these kind of things are monitored, so making sure that there are no cheating attempts or at least mistakes done. And he can go ahead and put his email address. This will confirm that he is indeed part of the expected candidates for this exam and will allow him to proceed.
Okay. Now, are you limited now to only one candidate per exam, or like if you do the copy link function, can it be just posted on like an Indeed or a job board? That way anybody can get as many as you want?
No, you can get as many candidates as you want. There are no limits on this. There is a advice, however, on the hiring process. If you send an exam or an evaluation for someone that you have never spoken with, you might not have the same returns as if you've already called them, had the first discussion, and notified them that they will receive an evaluation to proceed.
No, yeah, I like that targeted approach as well. That's just super cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. Awesome.
I love this so much because I feel like not only does it help you narrow down who's the best candidate for the job in terms of the questions that you choose to send to them, but it also, if they are your successful candidate and you do hire them, it gives you some insight already on where to get started, how to onboard them, and really how to create a coaching plan for them, you know, in their at least first year of employment based on the things they already know.
Yeah, that's what we're aiming at, because employment is likely a long-term contract or relationship, meaning that you know what were the skills when they started, and you're able to maybe reevaluate them every year to see how they progressed and what areas should they still work on, for example.
I
But
love
I
that.
love that. Yeah, that's an excellent use case.
Yeah, I think this is really great. And, knowing that the employer-employee market is so different now than it was even
Yeah.
pre-COVID. And a lot of people are working remotely. It's such a great opportunity to really get into their head to understand how they're working on these things. Retta, tell us, what types of industries are you already seeing interest from? Because I think, to me, the technical application is so clear. I'm curious to see who's so pumped about this besides just me.
So as you said, it's people that typically receive in the hundreds of CVs. So people that receive in the hundreds of applications for really technical role are extremely interested by these kind of solutions, because at the moment what exists are, I would say, two different things. Either coding games on one hand that basically ask you a question and ask you to code the answer for super technical jobs, but this doesn't give you any insight on how the candidate thinks. So it's a bit of a miss. The other alternatives are multiple choice question, but it's the same issue at the end, right? You propose four answers. Maybe it was luck. Maybe it was eliminating the most obvious outsiders. But at the end, you don't really know how the candidate really thinks and how his critical thinking is applied on the actual assessments.
I have to think there's also a benefit on the candidate side, because now they see what types of things you will expect them to do at their job. Because if you're giving them situations, you're saying these are common situations that we have, and it gives them a little bit of an insight into the day-to-day there.
Also eliminating a lot of those tire kickers or people who are just sending out resumes en masse, right? They're just like, oh, we're going to apply for this position. I may not be a good fit, but once they hit this kind of almost like a wall, so to speak, that they'd have to know some of these answers to these questions to even be considered, in this evaluation. Would this be also, you'd mentioned kind of like an aptitude test or skills, like a coding test? Where in the layers would this come before that, right? Would somebody be using this at the entry level to get them to take those, or are they also included in some of these questions as well?
It could very much be included into those questions. It doesn't have to be a separate tool. You could very much ask the solution to provide you with the super technical questions, super coding games where the candidate has actually to code his elements.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I think there's so many use cases there, right?
yeah, there definitely is a whole lot of them.
It's incredible. Even at the university level, because I know Jason, but Retta, I teach 1 or 2 classes a semester at a local university. Our career center at the university is really trying to prep students for AI phone screens, to get ready to respond to anything that will use AI to screen them in or out for a role. And I think one of the things I like the most about this, it's AI powered, but it's also really getting to the essence of who they are. So it's not just saying, yeah, you have the most buzzwords, you're an 80% match to this job description, therefore you'll get screened in. I mean, this is a nice way to help them think about how to present themselves.
I completely agree, especially as nowadays there are more and more skills and topics that are coming every year, and you cannot simply look at the past experiences or his resume to really know whether someone knows about Boolean search, if we talk about recruiting, or any other really super technical elements that he has to have actual knowledge of. So this is really allowing recruiters to have this more data-driven approach and really see what the candidate is good at and what needs improvement.
So speaking of topics, I know that's one thing, Jason, I wanted to show you, because Retta did prepare this because he knows this is a short video cast. But the ability to add topics, I'm gonna see if we can pull you back up on stage for a second here. There you can add way more topics that I think is going to be really beneficial to folks who are looking for that sort of hiring unicorn. One of the things, Jason, that I was asking Retta is, like, as you're adding these different topics, can you add in, different things, not just Salesforce Sales Cloud or UI UX? And I think Retta's a little bit frozen.
we got them frozen there temporarily.
Frozen. But you can add multiple different topics that are actually, skills that you're looking for. There we go. You're back, Retta.
Okay, good. Yeah, this is live, so.
Being live, right? Like you never know what's going to happen.
Well, I'm back. So just to clarify, Shannon, your question was about how to add new topics or new questions. Is that correct?
Yep, and the different types of topics that you could add.
Yeah. So in here, I'm opening a new evaluation, and this is how it works. So basically, suppose in here I want to have a super technical skill like Ruby on Rails. As soon as you click on add topic, this will basically look at the actual context you specified. So I think this one was about knowing having knowledge about ServiceNow. Not you have knowledge of the technology Ruby on Rails, which is a developer language, and apply it in the context that was initially requested. What the tool is doing right now is going through all the context that we've precised in the previous screen, but also looking at all the different difficulty levels. So it's going to generate right now automatically as we speak 3 to 4 questions per difficulty. So that's between 12 and 14 and 16 different questions for this specific skill. Of course, I'm able in the meantime to create any other elements. Let's say, for example, I want now to focus on what I will call a soft skill. So resource management, for example. And once again, this will create questions that are really tailored on resource management to make sure that I have the candidate has knowledge of the skill and know how to manage resources effectively. So you see, even the question generation is fairly quick, and it takes between 40 seconds to a minute, more or less.
I love this so much, Jason, because I know, you and I are in service businesses, so we don't just need technical experts. We also need people who are able to read the room and manage stakeholders and stay on task and manage a project. And those skills are just as critical as the technical skills.
Absolutely. So Retta, say I'm working in HR, I'm sifting through hundreds, if not thousands of CVs and resumes and submitting. What's the best way for me to get started? Where do I go? Is there a specific pricing structure? Can you give us a little insight into that?
Yeah, well, it's a brand new project. So the best way would be to contact me either via LinkedIn or via our website. Send me a message and we'll get in touch to schedule a demo and go through the different pricing plans that are the most relevant for the particular company you're working on.
Perfect. Yep, that's pulse-experts.com, right?
Yes, correct.
Okay, awesome.
As a side note, I can see that for this exam I've selected French. I'm French, so we also do manage multilingual already in the questions that we're generating.
Very nice.
This is so exciting. Well,
yes.
Retta, I know this was your first podcast, and it was our first time having a guest, and I think I'm going to say it worked out pretty well.
I think so too. This is a super exciting tool.
Super.
The use cases are far and wide, especially, and they're going to help a lot of people in the industry, especially in the recruiting and human resources industries, to kind of get the right people in the right seats. That's always the goal, right? We want to find solutions that are easy to use and that do what they do with no muss, no fuss.
Exactly.
Amazing. Thank you, Retta, so much for being with us today.
Yeah.
This was phenomenal.
Thanks to you, Shannon and Jason. It was a real pleasure meeting you and speaking with you again.
Absolutely. We'll talk to you very soon. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
See ya. Smalls.